Alright guys, welcome to a Live Saga TV. Yesterday I never made it to do a video, but today I'm here to do a video at least 30 minutes. So welcome and keep supporting the channel. We are on our way to 500 subscribers, very close. And then our target will shift to 1000 subscribers. Thank you so much for those who keep watching our videos and dropping comments. There is a lot out there. I don't know what to say, what not to. So Gloria Oroba has come out talking about dirty politics, the fact that parliament is captured. We have to keep listening to this and analyzing, right? But before that, let's look at how Miguna was actually dismantling Ruto and the key political figures. Is his say worth it? Do you think it really stands out for Kenyans when he's speaking from outside? So let's just check on this conversation.
I was in standard 5, primary 5. Miguna was in primary 5. So now, after all these decades, Ida did not work. People say Ida is a great, businesswoman. No. Ida has not actually worked since 1975. Ida has primarily been Raila Odinga's wife. That's why she's known. And in any event, she's way past 75. What are you telling the youth out there? And when I talk about the youth, I don't just mean teenagers. Yes. I mean people who are between the age of 19 to the age of 45. Many of them all qualified. And this came after Ida criticized Oburu Oginga for working with Ruto. Then she goes right into bed with Ruto less than 3 months after her husband died. She has not mourned her husband for 6 months. This is a disgrace. Ideally, we should not go to elections to remove Ruto. We should remove Ruto on the streets, ideally. Ruto should be removed from power using popular uprising, popular protest. So it's what I would call popular revolution, as more recently done in Bangladesh. Having seen what happened in Tanzania and what happened in Uganda, it portends badly for Kenya and may encourage Ruto to do the kind of things that they did, hoping that because the world has done nothing about it, he will also get away with it. What I can tell Ruto though, and this is what gives me courage. Number one, of course, Kenya is not Tanzania and it's not Uganda. And Kenya has reached a level of awareness, of consciousness, political consciousness, that is way above Tanzania and Uganda.
All right, guys, let me ask you people. Why do I feel different? I actually feel like even though Kenya, we are claiming that we have matured politically, there is some sort of prematurity in our politics because there is some sort of selfishness, egocentrism that has driven a lot of people to actually become so loyal to people who are dynasties, people who are mistreating the rest of Kenyans. And again, Kenya, it seems that many citizens are now worshipping wealth. So the moment someone brings billions or millions in their pockets, they are satisfied and they can do anything for that person. The other thing is that people are drunk with power and they don't want to get off power. So if they are in power currently and they feel like they can get allegiance with the current government, they are going to do anything. Of course, look at how people are speaking. I have seen a lady from Kilifi saying that she will support the government 100% because they have done greatly. I've also seen some people from Northeastern. Again, it was a lady saying the same. I've seen Pasaris supporting the government all time. I was thinking different of Wamchomba. I kept praising her, talking of her as a woman who is focused towards different things. But then recently she turned and said she was bought by billions of shillings. Can you imagine a whole leader coming out to testify and indicate that she was bought with a lot of money and the lot of projects that her place received? Justifying the fact that for you to be helped, you have to be in the kitchen cabinet of Ruto. Come on. So I think that as far as Miguna is saying that Kenya is a mature country, it's not like Uganda or Tanzania, our politics has its own level of prematurity. The aspect of egocentrism, the aspect of that selfishness, the aspect of duplicated mediocrity, like where people believe in shares, where people believe that for you to be helped, you actually have to give back a hand in terms of backing up the incumbent leaders. And it runs down from the top to the counties, because you will find that some schools, some institutions, some individuals will actually have to always prove that they are supporting a certain person, a ward representative, an MP, a governor, so that they remain to be assisted, actually to receive bursaries, to receive buses, or even for a road to be made. Remember, these are things that they are supposed to be done for the citizens. But people believe like they have to kind of switch allegiances for that to happen. So come on, as I was listening to Miguna talk, I was like, man, don't you forget that Ida is doing this because naturally Kenyans are people who are actually selfish. Selfish, I'm talking about that. Whether we like it or not, some people will disregard. But I want you to look at what's happening in the country and the way people are switching and talking about this and that. Tell me, for example, why Cleophas Malala insists on this kind of plays that are extremely radical and political. After being denied a chance in schools, he has gone to the public theater to do that. Why do you think he does that? It is because he wants to be relevant and, again, to gain a mileage politically, so that with time he is somewhere at the peak, and at the end of the day he will be having a lot to speak. Tell me why Gachagua is insisting on what he's saying. He has told us so many times he has to get a way to bring down Ruto. Remember, they were moving around the country before 2022 elections and campaigning, convincing people that they have to do it. And when they won, they said that that is their work, so they have to eat from their sweat. Now, I want you to listen partly to Gloria Oroba. She was talking about parliament as captured. I want just to understand what exactly she means by that as we proceed into the discussion.
Many parliamentarians are murderers by omission. Many parliamentarians. Were you one of them? Oh, I would not have lost my job. I would not have lost my job. How many times have I stood, even in chambers, and gone, majority leader is standing, pushes a motion that you can see, this motion is clearly going to mess up Mwananchi, and no one from the faction of government would oppose it, because the rule of parliament is that you cannot oppose the majority leader's motion. The majority leader is your prefect or the minority leader, so whichever faction you come from. Yeah. So you're not supposed to oppose. How many motions have I opposed of Aaron Cheriot? Many. It was termed a problematic. No, and the thing is, you're even nominated. It is the party who gave you. So why did we even give you? I was problematic because I would actually read the motion or the bill and whatever and ask myself, these women who I'm here to represent, would they really want me to pass this thing? Hey there, and welcome to Fanya Mambo Africa. Super excited. A lot of things that you think it's just a socio-economic affair, but really it is pegged on period poverty. So let me ask, that sanitary pads bill, when you exit, did you pass it to someone, or was that the end? No, because it's not like I exited like how I'm leaving next week Thursday. No. Yeah, of course. They literally hounded me out of office. One random was it a Wednesday. And then the court reinstated me after something like 3 months. And then I went back and you could see, I could not even access, which is even funny. The issue of me not being able to access parliament in itself even contradicts the International Parliamentary Organization, IPU. Breastfeeding room, you leave the chambers, you leave the building, you leave the second building, you go to the third building, you cross the road, there is the breastfeeding. So you run there, you take your baby from the car, you run to whichever room, I don't know where, and then you can imagine your motion is you're queued on the order paper. It's really, let me tell you something. Some of these things, I really sit down and I'm like, really, truly parliament was made for men. Why would you put a breastfeeding room 3 buildings across next to some toilets?
But we've had women all along who.
Which woman have you seen in parliament who's pregnant? Have you seen a woman in parliament pregnant?
Yeah, I saw you.
And which other person?
I'm trying to remember.
You have to think really hard. Number one, we've had women in Senate. I have had a nominated senator with me in Senate who hid a 9-month pregnancy. She literally hid her pregnancy. Because the bullying, the targeting, the discrimination begins
they
at
will
the
bully
point.
you because you're pregnant.
Oh
in
my
parliament.
God, you will not even be put in committees. We sasa amechoka. Huyo tunaenda hapa Naivasha. Tunaenda Naivasha hezi enda yeye ako na ball.
Ni kwani pregnancy ni ugonjwa.
So
this thing happens in parliament.
She hid her pregnancy. We even had an impeachment going on when she was 9 months pregnant. She would hide herself. We never saw her for at least 4 months. And even today, if you ask her, do you have a baby? She'll tell you, I don't have a baby.
Okay, that one has a problem.
No, she doesn't have a problem. She's just conforming to what politics has been. Because even if she says she has a baby where she comes from, they know that she's not married. So they will ask her, oh, you got a baby out of wedlock, hatukupei kura. Huyu hata hajamaliza kuzaa, huyu haizi uongozi, wacha amalize kuzaa kwanza ndo akuje kutishia uongozi. So she has literally decided she doesn't have a child. And she will deny. You will sit I'm sure maybe you've had runnings with her and you'll be shocked if I tell you that one has a baby. So if my son is 1 year, that one has a baby like about 2 years. No, about 1 year, 6 months or so, something like that.
Hey, politics.
Because her way of coping with it is, I better not tell anybody I have it's now shame. There's a shame there. So I'm not going to tell him. That way they don't dictate where I'm going, who I'm going, which work I can do. For instance, sometimes we have ad hoc committees where an issue has come up, like the Shakahola committee. And there are people who are more passionate with certain areas. So they'll say, oh, but you know, so-and-so, you're passionate with this. So you're telling people you're pregnant. When I was pregnant, there is no committee, ad hoc or otherwise, I was put into. It is the first discrimination of X. Now you disqualify from any extra work. Number 2, traveling becomes, but why are you traveling? You're pregnant.
People travel all the time. I mean, it doesn't make sense to me.
Let me tell you, being a woman in this Kenyan parliament is like, it's an Olympic sport.
Okay, somehow I'm getting to understand where you're coming from. I would want...
Yeah, who can only go on site certain times and we can't rely on her. So we can't send her on site. So we are always, so you know what, let's hire another person. Let's let her go. Because no one is really understanding. It's not really that she's sick. It's really that she's just having a difficult time during her periods. And then you can scale that up in situations where you're even talking about subject matter. When you go to the manufacturing industry, there are certain people who do certain jobs that are not even trained except while on duty, especially in manufacturing of this a little bit complex industries, or even motorcycle assembly plants and things like that, motor vehicle assembly plants. Then you look at it and then now you scale up the impact. That's why, for instance, when you go, I'm from the data center, the data center industry, they always have to set up data centers preferably in remote areas where there's less traffic, less interference, and less things like that. Most of the times that happens in the village. When you look at the socioeconomic impact of that, in the village, in most of the places where at least the data centers that I've been involved in Europe and elsewhere, they have less skilled workers. So they always have to import workers from elsewhere. So every time you're doing an impact assessment
of things, especially now this period poverty thing, you don't look at it as 1 plus 1. Mtu amekosa kwenda kazini, so there's always a domino effect around it, and that's why you'll be told hii ni msimu wa kuvuna in the village, harvest season. During harvest season is the highest teenage pregnancies. Why? They're interconnected. Harvest season is where they need more hands. When they need more hands, most households would say, hata ukimaliza shule mapema, enda ufanye kazi as a minor. Because people are looking for, then you find that's where you have the most interaction between minor.
All right, so that's Gloria Oroba sharing all that. And of course, after Edwin Sifuna came to the explainer, there are so many things he explored that have really brought a lot of war. Among them was trying to insinuate that we have other coffers who are sponsoring ODM's event away from ODM itself or its sponsors. The other aspect that he came up with is to share the 10-point agenda, and he argued that the government, or rather the broad-based government, has scored 0 in this. And then he indicated that Oburu is actually doing something wrong. So Oburu has actually thrown a fit after Sifuna has said this. But before that, let's just begin by showing this aspect of the fight. The fact that we may be thinking differently, but the reality is a little bit different. So my question was, does it mean that what we had earlier on been told by somebody that ODM itself created 2 branches within itself, so that one of them appears to be really close to broad-based government, while the other one stands out to actually question the government, so that they can appear to be working? Let's check on this.
Ruto right now, ODM is fighting itself. SIFUNA. The person holding the knife is not the one trending on television. I've never seen a president in Kenya who is campaigning with the energy the President Ruto is. Oburu Oginga's response to Edwin Sifuna wasn't defensive. It was a warning shot about who controls power inside the party. Early Friday, the Office of the Registrar of Political Parties issued Gazette Notice number 1157, notified the intended changes to the officials of the Orange Democratic Movement. It confirmed Dr. Oburu Oginga, Siaya Senator, as the new party leader of ODM, replacing the late Raila Odinga, while also effecting replacements for several other top positions, including Hassan Joho, John Badi, Opiyo Wandayi, and Wycliffe Oparanya in the old leadership lineup. Notably, Edwin Sifuna is not mentioned as being replaced or removed in this specific notice, meaning he remains the Secretary General pending any further internal party decisions or future gazettements.
Are you out of ODM? Are you on your way out of ODM? Which is it?
I am in ODM and nobody can kick me out of ODM. Here's what just happened. ODM Secretary General Edwin Sifuna went on Citizen TV and questioned 3 things at once: the legitimacy of recent party decisions, the source of funding for ODM Linda ground activities, and the idea of any engagement now or later with President Ruto's camp. Because I'm a signatory to the bank accounts, forget this rubbish you hear people saying here. Timothy Bosire, the treasurer, is a signatory to the bank accounts. The last money we expended as ODM officially was for the celebrations in Mombasa, and it was a fraction of what we saw there. So I am telling you, I know for a fact, there is parallel funding for activities clothed in ODM colors, and they go around running around saying they are ODM delegates. Constitution requires a national delegates convention whenever, in the circumstances unfortunate as the one that we found ourselves in, whenever a party leader dies, it is not an option, you know. Days later, ODM party leader Senator Oburu Oginga has responded from Chungwa House, not softly, not indirectly. He accused Sifuna of hypocrisy, of confusing personal opinion with party policy, and of undermining the very party organs that elected him. Quote, in recent months, The Secretary General has occasionally struggled to distinguish between his personal opinions and official party policy as determined by constitutionally mandated organs. This has, understandably, created confusion among members and supporters. ODM policy is not shaped by individual preference, it is the product of structured deliberation through properly constituted party organs. When Sifuna questioned the legality of some national officials on the basis that they were elected by the National Governing Council, he overlooked a fundamental fact. He himself was elected Secretary General by the same organ in February 2018 and discharged the functions of that office fully and effectively until February 2022, when the National Delegates Convention subsequently endorsed him. One cannot selectively invalidate the very processes that conferred legitimacy upon oneself. Unquote. On the surface, this looks like a routine internal disagreement. It isn't. This is where the analysis goes wrong. Many are reading this as a simple generational clash, youthful defiance versus old guard control. Others see a morality play, principled opposition versus political compromise.
Now, guys, when you look at this, of course, we began with the journey with Sifuna and Junet, and then Wanga on the other side, Orengo, we saw Amolo, we saw Hamisi, we saw Arati. We've been seeing people moving on and on. And of course, of late, we saw another wave with Winnie Odinga coming out to stand with Babu. And then we saw Babu with Ndindi Nyoro in an interview. Now, some people actually now purporting that Sifuna is meeting Gachagua, and that Gachagua is meeting Uhuru Kenyatta, and that the reshuffles in Azimio are strategically made to actually bring down Kalonzo Musyoka so that another candidate picks up. So what's popping in the United Opposition? Anyway, before we get to that, let's watch more on the faults. ODM party has finally found faults in Sifuna for advancing personal opinions instead of party opinions. Let's check on Citizen and see this. Of course, Explainer has two parts, but I won't go into that because Huyu Ndiye Sifuna has done his part. Anyway.
On the political party front, ODM party leader Dr. Oburu Oginga has warned ODM Secretary General Edwin Sifuna against misleading party members, telling him to stop contradicting the official party position with his personal opinions. In a press statement, Dr. Oburu maintained he is legitimately in office, cautioning the dissenting voices that democracy is not an avenue for chaos. Emmanuel Tor reports.
The season of shadow boxing in the Orange Democratic Movement Party is fast graduating to a full-blown bare-knuckle showdown. In a quick rejoinder to the sentiments made by his Secretary General Edwin Sifuna during an interview with Citizen TV on Tuesday, Dr. Oburu Oginga called out Sifuna saying, quote, "In recent months, the Secretary General has occasionally struggled to distinguish between his personal opinions and official party policy. This has understandably created confusion among members and supporters." Oburu revisiting Sifuna's remarks, which he says misled the public, especially in regard to the legitimacy of his position as party
welcome.
leader, saying,
Edwin
quote,
Kanini, welcome.
"We want to state categorically that all party officials are serving substantially and..."
What is?
And majority of the Oliet leadership from Western Province are gone, including Oparanya. Don't be cheated. Oparanya is just holding on because he's in government. That's why. But he's not in this thing. If you look at history, well,
Alright guys, so we were going on with the ODM drama before I came to this. So guys, let's look at the fact that Oparanya actually seems to have abandoned the broad-based government for Sifuna, but he's pretending just because he's in government anyway. Remember, he was picked as part of the main, or rather the key subjects who benefited from the government. So let's listen to one of the fellas giving his opinion here, and you may drop your comments based on what you think over this matter. But these discussions help us to understand the aspects of one-term, two-term, opposition, ODM, and all those shenanigans around. So let's check this.
You as some other visitors who came to visit the brother. But that is not all. Even the very, very spouses of relatives who die also begin to reject the relatives of the brother. So what is happening now? If you look at it very carefully and look at the political players actually mobilizing on both sides of the political divide, you find that they are members of the Jaramogi family, together with their supporters and support base. In fact, the other day I was telling another media house that, you know, the battle that is currently going on ODM is raging on from Siaya at a place called the Greater Bondo that includes probably Rarieda. That is where the battle is. When they sort themselves out and finish off, they can come back and tell us what they want us to proceed doing. But I also must tell you, if you did not know, that before Raila Odinga died, there are certain people who are key in the party who had already decided that they are getting out of it. And one such person that I've always said is Edwin Sifuna. Yeah. Edwin Sifuna, Osotsi, Caleb Hamisi, they were long gone before Raila Odinga even died. You know, those are people who were so loyal to Raila Odinga that they would never oppose Raila Odinga even in their dream. They would wake up and discard that dream if they discovered they were doing that. But you noted that while we were in Kakamega, Edwin Sifuna told Raila Odinga to his face that if he's going to cooperate with the government of President William Ruto, he should be counted out. Caleb Amisi, one of the greatest loyalists from Western Kenya, kept on saying that Ayuko kwa hiyo broad-based. Osotsi also like that. So it is very clear, even if people don't want it to be said, that majority of the Oliet leadership from Western province are gone, including Oparanya. Don't be cheated. Oparanya is just holding on because he's in government. He's just why, but he's not in this thing. I'm sure, very certain, that Sifuna and his group have been very well induced, very well facilitated to play the game they are playing. In fact, by who? They had left ODM in their hearts, but their body remains there to destroy it. Because those political opponents of the president know that an equivocal merger between the president's support and ODM support is a sure bet, like it was in 2007. That is why you find Kalonzo Musyoka, the possible replacement for President William Ruto, went to Bondo with 100 set of cattle when the funeral was long gone. Donation to funerals is done so that the guests, you are not going to make somebody who was not keeping cattle a cattle keeper because the husband has suddenly died. What was 100 head of cattle going to do in Bondo? They had visitors and guests coming and streaming all through, even after Baba's demise. They're still streaming in today. That's why I call that laughable. Because the number of people who even have gone there since that day that Kalonzo took the cattle there, cannot even eat a whole bull. There are 100 people, there are 20 people brought in by, and you cannot even slaughter a bull for them because they come intermittently on different days, unless you have giant freezers to keep. So if you didn't like our previous guest, I do not know what you think of. All
right, so that is a discussion that is very essential to us. In the analysis, there's a blackout that has just happened. That's why you're seeing the difference in the outlook of the video we are doing, but it is what it is. We have to finish our video and we are almost approaching 30 minutes. So we must do our part and finish. So of course today there was a funeral in Muranga and the United Opposition was right there. Even Onyonka was there. I saw Matiang, Martha Karua, I saw JP Muturi and the likes, all right? Kalonzo Musyoka possibly was there also. So on Radio Generation, there was this presentation on 1-term versus 2-term. Ruto will have opposition for breakfast by 10. Okango and Mbaye said that. So let's get to listen to this partly and then end our discussion. But meanwhile, remember, so many speculations are now coming up saying that the United Opposition are financing Sifuna and his likes to actually disrupt ODM. Is that true, or is that just an opinion? All right, so let's check on this.
No reason. Dr. Mbai is saying that there was an extension of this mathematic contract. Those are issues that are strategically ambiguous because individuals have interest. We know that. But as a people that believe in the rule of law, we are saying that let's start by institutions that are available. Let's reform IEBC. The new commission is new. The CEO, currently now the acting, is new. Even though he has been there for quite some time. The commissioners are new. And therefore, this is the IEBC that need the support of the political class. They don't need the disparaging of the political class as Dr. Mbai and team are doing. You don't need to go threaten them. I saw Mbai and team storming there, intimidating IEBC commissioners. Why? We have institutions that must work.
Dr. Mbai, did you intimidate? Show me movie, show me movie. The words Fred is using are very strong words on ceremony, on a week of February.
Amesema muli storm. Did you storm? Amesema muli intimidate.
Those are very strong words, and I can see CT is actually nodding in surprise, in shock. How we didn't storm. We moved. Actually, as a matter of fact, we requested for the appointment.
So you had an appointment?
We had an appointment. So I think they were shocked by the reception and the media coverage. That's why they're saying about storming. We simply went. We moved to the boardroom, went to the chairman's office, signed the visitors book. Is that somebody who looked like storming?
Okay.
For sure, no.
Yeah.
We went to the boardroom. We had our discussion. It was a courtesy call, actually.
Who did you meet in that boardroom?
We met the entire commissioners,
chairman,
and the members of the commission.
So secretary Taikwa?
No, they were not. Because as we were going to meet the commission, it was very cordial. We raised our issues. And so we didn't threaten nobody. It was very cordial. Every of the principals spoke. And we said, this is what we want. And it was very clear how we are here. Issues. I think what I can promise Fred, since he says he is very key in ODM, we can meet in the party liaison committee. At that time, now that you're in government, maybe that one will be fair because all the parties will be sitting there in the party liaison committee on IBC. It's a very strong committee that now talks about all the issues he's talking about. But for now, Fred, we are very organized. We are already going ahead. There's one issue that I want to clarify here, for the purpose of record.
Yes.
Fred is talking about parliament like for 10 times now. We have a lot of issues with the parliament the way it is constituted. Because there is broad-based conspiracy there going on. We don't 100% trust, but he has a lot of trust in parliament, everything in parliament. Listen. This is what we are saying. It's not us to go to write to parliament. It is IBC to go and look for money and whatever they need. That's number one. Let's be very clear. Number two, there's something which he has mentioned which needs to be discussed.
Right.
He's saying that, there's some issues here because you see boundaries were supposed to happen before elections. So parliament will go implement, an article report that says, you remember that some proposal that extension until boundaries are done, then elections are held. I want to tell Fred, please, go and tell your people in the broad-based. We are waiting. We are to our check. We are waiting.
Can I ask a question, gentlemen?
Because that's what they want to go that direction, city. Where, because boundaries is not done, and he's mentioning litigation, wanaweza kuwa wamepanga watu waende kutini, waseme,
Hiyo sioni kifanyika.
Koja, in absence, let me tell you.
Actually, that...
If you are going to assist me, how do you assist what you don't know? I'm telling you.
But I know what you... Look, I know more about Nyota Fund than you think you do.
Proceed.
Okay?
Proceed.
There's what you know, there is what I know.
Okay. Then there's now what we know. Proceed.
CT pia wewe tumia mic sasa.
Use the mic.
56% of the population of this country earn less than 20,000 shillings per month as a household.
That's true.
Okay? I'm referencing the 22,000.
Correct.
22,000 becomes a lot of money. That's
Correct.
really what I wanted to say.
Thank you, City. And it also confirms why the opinion poll about Nyota projected that majority majority, over 70%, support and believe that that money is useful to them. And those are young people. The same young people that Mbai and team are now saying do not believe in this government. Mbai, they are going to vote for William Ruto man to man. Let me tell you, I am convinced.
You know these two gentlemen are campaigning for the.
I am convinced.
Sawa. Endeleeni na hiyo kampeni yenu.
I am convinced.
30 seconds.
I am convinced, Mbuvi,
Yes.
that as we go along, Mbai talked of a scorecard. Let us not tell them to give Kenyans alternative. Let us give our scorecard. Our scorecard is visible. When the president go out there, he tells the people, look around. There are affordable housing in every county, 44 of them. It has employed young people. They are getting a living. Look around. Nyota, I'm here to give you money that you're not going to return to me, but money that's going to empower your economy. But he's telling them, look around. We have had challenges with the Shah, but today we are going into investigation. The culprits will be arrested, but we are making Shah work. Look around. We are building. Education has had challenges, CBC, CBE, it has had challenges, but those challenges are with every government.
Not it as has had, it has.
It has, I agree.
It's an ongoing thing.
It has, I agree.
But
But
challenges are ongoing.
the government is not seated smiling. They are working on it. And that's why I keep asking.
Yeah.
The alternative, the opposition that is now calling themselves alternative government has not told us any of their policies.
Yeah.
This is a technical person.
Can we allow now
This
that
is a professional.
Yeah.
Oh my God, this discussion can go on forever and forever, but unfortunately with blackout we can't continue so much. But guys, out there is a lot of fire on these aspects. Now, what is the state of Uganda? Of course, we've been seeing them in arms, US after them, and so much happening. I don't know how soon it will come to an end, but it's such a situation that is very difficult and confusing, actually. But for now, I think we can stop there because of this blackout, and we will proceed tomorrow. Bye-bye for now.